Hey guys, Sledgehammer70 here, and I am back today with a new vlog on probably one of the most highly, I don't want to say heated topics, but the most commented item around Camaros, basically from the 5th gen and 6th gen to date, that revolves around the topic of, can you see out of this car? Or the visibility being terrible. It's like you're in a tank. This car, you can't see anything. Why are you driving that? It's hilarious. So the issue being is a lot of people are concerned with the visibility from the Camaro. Now, both the Gen 5 and Gen 6 do have a smaller greenhouse viewable area around the car that may make people a little uneasy. I'm not gonna refute that at all. But the notion that you can't see anything out of this car is just silly. It's ridiculous. Now, I've been driving a Camaros off and on. Now, first gens were great. They had big windows back then. Some of the other cars in between, different generations, were great. But the 5th gen did introduce a much smaller greenhouse or window area to see out of. GM listened to those concerns. They heard the consumer complaints or even press complaints around, oh my gosh, I can't see out of this car. It's really hard to see out of this car. But I honestly feel that it is completely dependent, one, on the person, and two, how you drive. Now, a lot of us, and I shouldn't say a lot of us, but I have actually been watching more and more people drive their vehicles, or people who drive Mustangs. Some of my buddies just have asked specifically, like, hey, can I ride with you? Just so I can observe how they drive in their car and how they look around their surroundings and pay attention. And honestly, a lot of the visibility issue complaints that I hear, it boils down to how people drive. Now, GM and Ford and Chrysler, like all these companies, they have all sorts of technology these days, and they build them into the cars to make it safer. It could be your reverse and front alert systems. It could be the side mirrors, so when you know there's a car within your blind spot on the side of you. They all function and they all work. Now, most people, they don't use them. They don't pay attention to them unless they're parking their car or whatever. Like, I can't speak for you who may be watching this video. I'm 6'5". I have my seat all the way down in this car, all the way back, and I could still clearly see over my hood. I could see the front of the black hood inserts on my hood, so I can see a nice way down there. But I can see for shorter people how the speedometer or the gauge cluster hump per se, where the why can I not think of words, can cause issues in visibility. But for people who are short, you know, there's lots of things there that can go and, you know, they could raise their seat up so they could see higher. But then I understand that there's always the issue of being able to reach the pedals. So there are legit complaints from people who legitimately can't see out of this car, and maybe this car is not for you. I wanted to make this video to highlight that there are systems in place to alleviate your concerns. And with that, you know, I don't see any problems. Now, since I am tall and I could see over the hood, and, you know, my hair is pretty close to the ceiling, just about touching, I do have troubles when I come up to a stoplight. The stoplight that is typically in front of you, I can usually see just where the green light is, unless, like, I have to move my head just like that, and then I can see the whole thing. Now, I do recognize that almost every single intersection will have a light on my, what is that, your 2 o'clock, and usually a light on your 10 o'clock on the poles, and not just on your 12 o'clock. Usually I can always see one or two of the lights, unless I go like that. Oh, that's hard. Oh, my neck, it hurts. No, I'm kidding. But that's the visibility up front. I have a clear view of all in front of me. Now, my wife drives a Dodge Durango. We had a rental Chevy Tahoe. I rented a Mustang to see how the green, through Enterprise, just for the day, to see how that would change things. And honestly, I suffer from the same issue in every car I sit in from being so tall. I always have the trouble of seeing the light here. Even in the Tahoe, even in the Dodge Durango, the Tahoe has a huge greenhouse up front, but it suffers worse rear visibility than the 2016 Camaro. And I want to say the visibility out of my rear is not bad. Now, on top of that, I even have tinted windows. So I could see pretty clearly, as you could see in the video. I don't know how much you could see out my windows, but it's not so dark. And even at night, you know, when cars are driving behind me, I could see the lights, no problem. But looking left and right, I have full view all around me. Some people complain about these pillars up front, or that it's thicker on the bottom and it really blocks. But honestly, if you can't see a big ass car on the left or right side of that, you have bigger problems than the A-pillar blocking your view. You need damn glasses. But on top of that, on the 2016 Camaro, and I don't believe it's available on all of the cars, but it is an upgraded option, you have the side lane alerts. So on both of the mirrors, there is a car with a star, and they light up when a car's in your blind spot. Now, for me, when I'm driving, I usually have both hands on the wheel, and before I change lanes, look over your shoulder. I have a clear view over my shoulder of a car being there, and if there is a car there, my side alert light would be lit up. On top of that, though, my side mirror is adjusted in a way to where there is no blind spot. I could see the car out my rear view mirror coming up on me. If he's not in my rear view mirror, I could definitely see the car in my side mirror. And if for some reason I'm that blind and can't realize that a car is not behind me and I can't see it in my side mirror, that light in me looking over should clearly show a car there. Like, I don't get the argument of I can't see out this car and it will be very dangerous to drive. I could see everything. Even on the track, I could see where the corners are, I could see where the apex is. Like, there's no problem in being able to see where everything's at. Overall, like, now if you're shorter, and here, let's see if I can get really short, I could see, you know, potentially this could be a problem. Now this seat's all the way back. This is ridiculous, sorry. But, you know, I could see how a short person who might have issues reaching the pedals, lifting the seat up and all that kind of stuff can be a problem. I don't want to refute that. I don't want to say that's ridiculous, but I do want to dispel the fact that you can see out of this car. It's not a huge issue. Like, I could clearly see all around. I could see out the back perfectly fine, perfect distance, day and night. I never feel unsafe. And some of you might say, well, that's because you've driven a 5th gen, and that's also because you're now driving a 6th gen. As I outlined before, I've been driving multiple different types of cars. I'm sure some of you guys have too. There are some that have great or better visibility. But is the visibility to a point where it's going to cause an issue or make the car unsafe? No, it's not. Now, every single car, like if you're not driving a minivan, you're not going to see your front bumper of your car. Like, that's just not going to happen. You know, some people are like, oh, I can't see over the whole hood. Name a car that's not a minivan that you can see over the whole hood and see your bumper. Like, you got to get used to the area of your car. You know the dimensions of the vehicle, and as you drive it more and more, you're going to become comfortable with it. Now, maybe I've become just overly comfortable with 5th and 6th gen Camaros. Sure, throw that argument out. I'll accept it. But jumping from a Camaro, a Challenger, and other vehicles, I feel I have the same visibility issues out of all those cars. And when I say visibility issues, just the same kind of problems, like, oh, that light that's supposed to be right here when I'm at a stop sign right on the line isn't always entirely in my view. I could see where the green light is, and definitely as I'm pulling up, I could see all the lights, but I have to move my neck like that. And oh man, that hurts. It's so hard to do. But I don't know. I'm rambling here. This is an awesome vlog, but I just don't think the visibility issue should ever be a concern for you if you're looking at or want to buy a 2016 Camaro or even a 5th gen Camaro. You'll feel a little more top down, but that's just the feeling you're gonna get when you're in this fighter pilot cockpit. Like, it feels a lot more, you know, I don't want to say cramped, because I don't feel cramped, but it definitely feels like I'm locked in. I think that might be a better term to use. I'm a big guy. I fit in this car. I fill in this seat pretty well, I think. You know, and I know there's been plenty of you guys making comments that I could tell from your pictures that you have on YouTube. You guys are big guys too, or big gals. I would love, if you guys have sat in a Camaro, I would love to know what visibility issues or what problems you think you foresaw or might be having in the vehicle. With the rear view backup sensors, with the side sensors, across the board, and just driving a car like you normally should, using your mirrors, looking over your shoulder. Like, really, what was the problem for you? I would love to know, because I just don't see it. Even my wife, she's 4'11", she's tiny. She adjusted the seat, everything for her, and she claims she wasn't hindered that much from the view. She did complain about the gauge cluster bump. I mean, being short and even adjusting the seats and the steering wheel, the gauge cluster hump did limit her visibility over the entire hood, but she was able to kind of peek up in her seat and she's like, I could see fine. I don't feel like I can't park this car or can't drive this car from that. So, but yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Post below, let me know what you guys think across the board, where the visibility issues are for you. Is it the rear? Is it the side? Like, what is the complaint that you have? Because I'm not here to say that, oh, I'm right and you're wrong. I just want to dispel the fact that it's not completely impossible to see out of this car. And with the technology that GM has provided in the car, it is a lot easier across the board to be double aware of your surroundings. You know, I shouldn't have to rely on that light that a car's there, but it's great to know that there's a light on my mirror. So if there's a car that blends into the scenery or whatever, it's a second set of eyes per se. So that's it. Now that's my vlog on visibility out of a Camaro. Now, as always, guys, thanks for watching these videos. This one's quite a long one. Leave comments below. Again, I threw out a couple questions a little bit earlier. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing the content. And as always, I will see you guys on the road.